Today we will read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse number 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Yamameva masamudho janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajatimam sarva bhavana bharata. Translation. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is a knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Purport of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now, in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hawks is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. And no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual processes for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary processes of understanding. But if one, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yamamevam masamudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajatimam sarva bhavana bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engaged himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The spirit is real and valuable component of the body. We cannot see it, but we know it's there for by its symptom, consciousness. That's why we can say that there is a living being, because there is a consciousness, there are some processes going on. We cannot say that animals don't have soul, because we see the consciousness. The same as other living beings. As matter has its characteristics, spirit does also. The characteristics of spirit are Satchit Ananda. That is the eternity, knowledge, and blissfulness. And Krishna, he is a source of Satchit Ananda because he is a Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He is a Krishna Stu Bhagavam Svaya. He is a source of everything. And Krishna is the source of our happiness. And today we'll talk about Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And our main topic that we'll talk about is the one quality of happiness. That happiness doesn't like to be alone. We can see that if there is no one, all other things has no value. Our money, right? Our career, house, and everything. If we live on some island without any people, right? Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he explained that when he was in New York City, he said that man built everything just because of women. Just because they wanted to show them. If there is no woman, for man, it's no simulation. And as we know, Krishna, he has his friends, his brother Balaram in Krishna Lila. In Ram Lila, he has his brother Lakshman. And today is a very special day when Lord Nityananda appears in this world. And actually he gives us love of God. And it says in the Shastra, it says, Vrajendrananda Jai Sachisuta Hoila Sei, Balaram Hoila Nitai. That Krishna becomes Lord Chaitanya and Balaram becomes Nityananda Prabhu. Two brothers. And as we know, pastimes of Lord Balaram and pastimes of Lord Nityananda, they're different. Lord Nityananda, he doesn't kill anyone. He doesn't kill any demons. But he's falling in their feet, humbly asking them to accept the holy name of the Lord. That is the mood of Lord Balaram. So Nityananda Prabhu, he appeared on this day, 30th day of waxing moon, in the moon of Magh, in Eka Chakra, around 5,500 years ago. And before that, a few hundred years ago, scholar Brahmanas, they predicted that Lord Balaram will appear in Eka Chakra. And his parents, Hadai Pandit and Padmavati, they are Vasudeva and Rahini. They became, again, Balarama's parents. And they didn't have children for a long time. And when little Nitai appeared, they became so happy. Actually, he became the center of their life. And not just their life, but life of the whole village. And his main activity was drama. And I was just recently listening to a lecture by Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And he very nicely explains that they play Little Nitai around 5 years old and older. He was in an Eka Chakra, he was until 12 years old. So for around 7 or more years, he played different pastimes of Krishna, like Krishna Lila, Rama Lila, Daitraya's Lila, Varaha's Lila, Narasimha's Lila. And all of the neighbors, they were so surprised because actually he knows all of the details, and he was the main producer. he was the main manager, director of lights and sounds. He was the supervisor for everything in 5 years. And so you can imagine how thoroughly attached they became to him, the whole village, toward Nityananda, little Nitai. And once, when he was just 12 years old, one sadhu came into their house, and he spoke about Krishna for the whole day and night. And when he was leaving, Hadai Pandit said that, Sadhu, you are Sadhu, I am your servant, you can ask everything you want to. And Sadhu says that, I am on a pilgrimage and I need assistance. And your son is the best option for me. And Hadai Pandit, he was in shock. He didn't know what to say, he couldn't say no, and he couldn't let little Nitai go. Especially at that time, pilgrimage in India, like 5.5 years, hundreds years ago, it means there is no cell phones, there is no internet. 12 years old boy will go around the whole India. They go to Himalaya, to Badrinath, and he will be assistant. He didn't know, he was in shock. And that sannyasi, he left deity, Krishna's deity, and he says that you can worship that deity. But as Radhanath Maharaj explained, that after a while, around a week, Padmavati and Hadai Pandit, they just left their bodies because they couldn't eat, they couldn't sleep. That sadhu just took their life with little Nitai. Not only they, as well as other citizens of Eka Chakra. But what is interesting that little Nitai was detached. He said, Haribol. He just left. And I remember a long time ago I was listening to a lecture, and it was said that almost everyone passed away at that time. No one could just live without little Nitai because they used to his dramas, his association, all of his friends, everything. But little Nitai, he traveled and he got a lot of new friends and experience. Actually, he got Diksha initiation later from Madhavendra Puri. And as we know, Madhavendra Puri, he is a spiritual master of Ishvara Puri. And Ishvara Puri is a spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can see that actually Lord Nityananda, he was much older. He was around 25 years old, older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a lot of Leelas, and because we have limited time, I'll be concentrating more on another topic. But we need to know that Balaram, his elder brother, and he is always with Krishna, all of the time. And he loves him so much that he manifests himself in different way just in order to serve him. As Prabhu, Vishwanath Prabhu ji mentioned last time. There's Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnus, and Kshirodakashaya Vishnus. So all the expansions of Nitai, of Balaram. Because all the spiritual world is manifested just by Lord Balaram. Because he wants to serve Krishna. And if he wants to serve him in different way, he doesn't mind. He wants to serve in different ways. So he takes different types of bodies and he makes everything to make pastime of Radha and Krishna's more beautiful. That's why actually, because Nityananda Prabhu, he's so Kshirodakashaya Vishnu means he's inside our body. He's a Paramatma all of the time with us. And that's why he is known as Adi Guru. Lord Nityananda knows as Adi Guru, Supreme Guru, First Guru. And he gives us qualification to be happy, to serve Krishna. Well, I'll talk a few stories today. I will say a few stories today. And first story is Lord Chaitanya and Raghunath Das Goswami. That we cannot approach Lord Chaitanya directly or Krishna directly without mercy of Lord Nityananda. And that is a very nice story. Because Raghunath Das Goswami, he was blessed by Haridas Thakur. When he was a child, he was blessed by Haridas Thakur. And he knew that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the reincarnation of Krishna. But as we know, he was a prince. And his parents, they couldn't let him go. He becomes a king because he was a one son. And at that time in India, it was a big thing. One son in the kingdom family. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he instructed him that he can do what they want to, just to please their parents. And then later, he might go to Vrindavan. But he wanted to see Lord Chaitanya. And first time, in their first meeting, Lord Chaitanya was busy. And he didn't have time to associate with Lord Chaitanya much. And after a while, he figured out that Nityananda Prabhu, he came to Panihati village. And it's 4 miles north of Calcutta. And he knew that Lord Nityananda is a close associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to serve them. And their first meeting was that Lord Nityananda, he was with his devotees. There was around hundreds of devotees. And they saw Raghunath Das Goswami was coming. And Nityananda Prabhu, he recognized him. And he said, let him come in. And when he was coming, he said, "You are a thief, Raghunath Das. Come here and I will now punish you." And but when he came, Nityananda Prabhu, he put his feet on Raghunath Das' head. And acharyas, they explain why Nitai said that. Because Raghunath Das Goswami, he wanted to approach Lord Chaitanya without mercy of Lord Nityananda. And he said that you are a thief because you want to have that I have. It's my value. It's my love to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you want to take it from me without my mercy. And he instructed him to prepare a big festival and feed all of the devotees with yogurt and cheap rice. That's called Panihati Chita Dahi Utsava. And last year, it was in May, when Nikunj Radha and me got our Diksha initiation on that festival day. So, as we can see, serving Krishna means just to be happy. And our nature, as we spoke previously, Krishnera Nitidasa. Jivara Surupahaya Krishnera Nitidasa. And it means that we are all very social living beings. And because we are Prakriti, we need to have an object of our love. We are acting people, and it means that right now we're doing it for ourselves as a lust. But we're not happy when we're just trying to enjoy our senses. But when we are doing it for someone else, for Krishna devotees, that is a way to become happy. And Krishna loves us. He creates this world for us. For people who don't want to be with Krishna, who don't want to serve Krishna. He doesn't take our free will. If we want to be separate, it's fine. It's up to us, because he doesn't want to push us to love him. But Lord Nityananda is more merciful. And that is a story about that. So Lord Chaitanya, he has begun Sankirtana movement around 5.5 years ago. Because in Kali Yuga times there is no other way just to give. We are not ready for some kind of meditation. We are not qualified for performing big yagyas or deity worships. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came with his associates to spread Krishna consciousness. And he made different parties. So even God is very well organized. He made parties, groups of people. And he made a nice party of Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu. And Haridas Thakur, at that time, he was much older than Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu, he was a little bit crazy at that time. And it was really hard. Haridas Thakur used to give bad reports to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about Nityananda Prabhu. Because he said that sometimes when we go and preach, that Nityananda Prabhu, he comes into some houses and he sees some nice girls, young girls who are not married. And he asks them to marry him. And when all of the parents and relatives, they're trying to catch Nityananda and beat him, he just ran away. But I'm an old man. And then he jumped and he burst crocodiles. And he just trying to catch crocodiles and ask them to chant Hare Krishna. That was a party. And once when Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur, they were on Sankirtana. They were walking from house to house, and they asked people to chant Hari's names. And one of the day, they were walking down on the main road, and on their way, they saw a roaring crowd assembled. Upon entering from passers-by, and they understood that two brothers named Jagai and Madai, they made public disturbance. And they also heard that these two brothers were born in a respectable Brahmana family, but just because of bad associations, they had turned into debaucheers of the worst type. They were not only drunkards, but also meat-eaters, woman hunters, dacoits, and sinners of all description. And Srila Nityananda Prabhu heard all of these stories and decided that if that two guys become devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya's mission would be even more successful. And thinking in that way, Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas, they pushed their way through the crowd and asked the two brothers to chant the holy name of Lord Hari. Very simple, without any philosophy. Please, chant Hare Krishna. And the drunken brothers became enraged upon his request and attacked Nityananda Prabhu with filthy language. Both brothers chased them a considerable distance. And in the evening, the report of the preaching work was submitted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was glad to learn that Nityananda and Haridas had attempted to deliver such a stupid pairs of fellows. But next day, Nityananda Prabhu went to see the brothers, and so he was, as Haridas Thakur explained, he was crazy. It was impossible to preach with him. He might go to some kind of alcohol bar and preach there, and he just was looking for animals, people, and just asked them to chant Hare Krishna. So he found that Jagai and Madai, and he said, it doesn't matter that you have thrown this. He said that I don't care about what you said. I ask you again, please, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But then, one of them, he took a clay pot and threw a piece of Lord Nityananda's forehead, and blood just came out. Nityananda Prabhu was so kind that instead of protesting this act, he said, it does not matter that you have thrown this stone at me. I still request you to chant the holy name of Lord Hari. And one of the brothers, Jagai, was astonished to see his behavior of Nityananda Prabhu, and he at once fell down at his feet and asked him for forgiveness for his sinful brother, for Madai. And when Madai again wanted to hurt Nityananda Prabhu, Jagai stopped him and asked him to fall down at Nityananda's feet. But at that time, meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was said to him that two drunkards, they beat Nityananda. And the Lord immediately invoked his Sudarshana chakra. And he appeared. And he wanted to kill the sinners immediately with his Sudarshana chakra. But Nityananda Prabhu, he reminded him about his Sankirtana mission. The mission of Lord was to deliver the hopelessly fallen souls of Kali Yuga, and the brothers Jagai and Madhai were typically examples of these fallen souls. It says that more than 90% of people of Kali Yuga is going to be the same as the two brothers. So there is no way to kill anyone. Actually, as we know, it's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that Kalki Avatar, he will come in end of Kali Yuga and he will just kill everyone. Because there is no other way to preach. And Nityananda Prabhu was imploring him to forgive the two brothers. Both the brothers fell down, and actually he said that one of them, another one wants to beat me again, but this one said, please don't do that. So he actually saved me. And Lord Chaitanya's heart became more softly. And he said them to ask for forgiveness, pay obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu, and never repeat the same mistakes. And they became actually sadhus, the two brothers. They became Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. And there is temple in their names right now. In some part of India, temple of Jagai and Madai, two sadhus. As we can see from that story from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Nityananda, so there is Lord Chaitanya in yellow outfits, and Lord Nityananda is blue outfits, as Krishna and Balaram. And in this form you can see that they are dancing form of Sankirtan. And Lord Nityananda, he does not care about any offense we did. He doesn't care about our qualification. He just wants to make us happy. Because other way, I definitely can say about myself, I wouldn't sit here. if depended on my qualification and my previous offenses. So, Lord Nityananda says that he was always, his name actually is Nitya Ananda. He was always in Ananda. And he shows that you cannot keep that Ananda, this happiness, inside your heart. Because if you are happy, you very naturally make other people happy. That's why it's hard sometimes for people when they think that I will get married or I will find someone, like two unhappy people, they think that we'll find each other and we'll become happy and we'll make each other happy. So the point is that happiness is inside. It doesn't depend on some external situation. And when we are happy, it reflects our life and in fact others. So I was thinking about our meetings. And our meetings here is not some kind of philosophical club, because we have a lot of books with philosophy. But for many months no one took any book to read. So we can see that actually we're not big philosophers, philosophy lovers. And even Bhagavad Gita, he explains very clearly everything. But unfortunately, not much time for Bhagavad Gita every day. And sometimes people, they think that we have some kind of entertainment Indian club. They want to be entertained by others with music, and they think that we might have some kind of music club here, Indian music club, or they think that we have some kind of vegetarian Indian food club, just to be entertained once a week. It's fine, philosophy, it's fine, I can see it. But actually, our club is a club of Lord Nityananda's infection of Krishna Prema. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, just by his mercy, because he loves Krishna,